Welcome and thank you very much for coming back to the Nolan series. Today we are reviewing Insomnia, of course directed by Christopher Nolan, from a screenplay by Hilary Seitz and starring Al Pacino and Robin Williams in what is, for most people, considered the most underrated Nolan movie. Let's talk about it. The film follows two Los Angeles homicide detectives who are dispatched to a northern town in Alaska where the sun doesn't set as they investigate the methodical murder of a local teen. And before we properly get started, there will be spoilers for this movie, so beware and do watch this film because I find it, as well, like most people, to be Nolan's most underrated film. This is a film not that most people have seen, but also they do not care to see. And in a sense, I can understand why. On the surface, this is a cop thriller. It's got every trope that a mundane thriller has. But once more, it's how Nolan tells this story and how Hilary Seitz writes it that makes it stand out and takes it to a whole new level. Starting, of course, with the performances, mainly Al Pacino, who is so well known for being not only a great actor, which he is in this film, but for being so over the top and out there and explosive in his scenes. In this film, he's extremely subtle. You can sense him slowly breaking down throughout the film as he is not getting sleep at all. And as someone who hates waking up with the minimal amount of sunlight coming through the window, I could fucking relate to this dude. But having this breakdown throughout the film and establishing why he's breaking down and how much he is suffering throughout all of this creates for so much tension throughout the film. And with the editing, with him having these visions and these close-ups with the bloody rag and the local teen who was murdered laughing and other memories that you're not quite sure what they are until the very end of the film, or at least the beginning of the third act when he has that conversation in his hotel room when he's near his breaking point with Maura Tierney. That just creates tension. It generates tension. You start to feel a little bit like he is, not being sure of anything and just feeling super tired. In most other movies, feeling tired throughout watching a movie would be a really bad thing, but in this one, it's exactly the point. And Robin Williams gives a fantastic performance as well. This is a performance that I feel is quite forgotten when it comes to his career. Rest in peace, by the way, Robin Williams. Alongside Good Will Hunting and 1 Hour Photo and Dead Poets Society, this performance for me ranks up there. He's extremely creepy throughout this film, and I love how he's treated mostly like a monster. You don't see him for the first half hour of this film at all, and in fact his first reveal is just breaking that down, that he is just a man when Al Pacino is investigating his apartment, and then you have the dogs at the door, and then it just cuts to Robin Williams at the door and he's thinking, oh shit, somebody's in there, and then he just runs. But even though they humanize him right then and there, he's still very much in control, and that's another great thing throughout this film. And it links to the main theme of this film. The main theme of this film is moral compromise, and how you act upon finding yourself in a moral compromise. Both of these guys find themselves in the same place. They did something wrong, they know they did something wrong, they're trying to get away with it, except Al Pacino is more in the right. He kind of wants to do the right thing. He feels guilty. He sees the ghost of his partner everywhere. He is haunted by his actions. Robin Williams' character, he suggests that he accidentally killed her, but now he's trying to cover it up. He's trying to get away. He doesn't want anything to do with it. In fact, he's trying to actively blame and put the guilt on the boyfriend of the girl that he killed. So there are these two characters, one of them good, one of them bad. One of them wants to do the right thing, but is already in a lot of trouble with the IA in Los Angeles investigating former murder investigations, but Robin Williams is trying to corrupt them. And due to Al Pacino's character slowly losing his mind due to the lack of sleep and going through insomnia, he kind of has the most control. And that's something that I love in this film. Most of the time when you have this dynamic of a cop and then a murderer and they meet each other, usually the cop is in control and is trying to break the murderer into confessing or whatnot. This time the murderer, Robin Williams, is the one that has control over Al Pacino, is trying to break his moral compass. He's trying to get him to go along with this blaming of the young kid who was the former boyfriend of the girl who died. Even though he was abusive, Al Pacino still feels like that's not the right thing to do. And you also have the presence of Hilary Swank, who is a huge fan of Al Pacino's character, and she is something that lets him hold on to the light side of the force. And one of my favorite scenes in this film is also something that links back strongly to this main theme, and that's the conversation that Al Pacino has with Moratini when he just broke down and he confesses that he once planted evidence on someone that he knew had committed a crime. He had kidnapped this kid and after a while he hung him, but there wasn't enough evidence, so he planted it and sent him to jail. But now with the AI, he might walk. And Maura Tierney's character, commenting on if what Al Pacino did was right or wrong, she says there are two ways to look at it. There is what felt right at the time and what one person can live with. And I feel that in this film, that's the one thing that kind of brings Al Pacino's character mostly back to solid reality, as he's able to go into where Hilary Swank and Robin Williams are and help her out against him, which is one of the most intense last act sequences in crime thrillers. Because in this scene, Hilary Swank already knows that Al Pacino was the one that shot his partner and not Robin Williams, as Al Pacino tried to suggest, and she questions him about it, but he doesn't know. He's lost it already. He's too far gone. Morally and mentally, he doesn't know anymore. He doesn't know what he thought subconsciously. The lack of sleep has taken so much away from him, and she decides to trust him. But even then, throughout that sequence, I was still not sure if we should trust him. Even though I've seen this film a million times, I still remember the first time I watched it, and I'm like, is he going to betray her? Is he going to kill her and align himself with Robin Williams? And it's so well established throughout the film to get to that point and not being sure. And come the end of the film, you can totally tell that she was the reason that he hung on to the light. She was the reason that he was able to find his way and keep himself sanely enough to do the job and have her keep that bullet casing to prove that he was the one to shoot his partner, because he just wanted to get some sleep. That's almost the final liberation for this man who has been so haunted by his past mistakes, by the supposedly accidental death of his partner, that I feel Nolan leaves it up in the air whether we want to believe he shot him on accident or he actually could see him. But once again, Nolan plays with the mind. Even if he did do it on accident, it is possible, as the film suggests, that he could have wanted to kill his partner because he was about to cut a deal. The investigations were to be open and many criminals would have walked if they had found that the evidence was planted. If he did this thing one time, how many other cases did he interfere with? I also cannot finish this review without congratulating the score, which is fan-fucking-tastic. It lends so much to the tension throughout the film and to the dynamic of the characters of Robin Williams and Al Pacino. The ferry scene is also another favorite for me, which is extremely intense. You're never sure where that scene is going to go as both characters are trying to catch each other. But again, that control that Robin Williams has throughout this film over Al Pacino's character, it's just unique. You don't see that anywhere else. The villain have the most control over the hero. And like the best thrillers, he dives deep below the surface to analyze the human condition under the circumstances of losing your mind and being under the pressure of a true moral compromise. And I'm giving Insomnia an A+. Thank you so much for watching, my beautiful geekies. You are the best. Stay tuned for many more reviews coming this week. And next week, I will bring you my review for Nolan's The Prestige, as I'm leaving the Batman movies to review next year when The Batman comes out. Once more, thank you so much for watching. You are the best. Don't forget to like and subscribe because it really helps me and the channel out. But most importantly, above everything else, forever and always, love each other and love the movies.